and 2 photo gates. And I'm going to refer to the single-footed side of the air track and the double-footed side. All right? Now, what we're going to do is make an inclined plane with the air track. Oh, but before you do anything, you want to turn on the air supply. And remember, you have to have both air supplies turned on for a given table because they're coupled in some funny way. So if you only have one of the air supplies turned on, it won't be enough of a cushion to support the little glider. And so the first thing you want to do is try to level the track to the best of your ability, because if it's got a slope, it's going to make your results skewed. All right, so just like before, you won't be able to perfectly level it maybe, because the tendency is for there to be a sag in between the 2 legs and then sags at the end again. But do your best to get it leveled. And I would say you want to concentrate on getting the center part leveled. That's probably the most important part. Now, what you're going to do is set up one photo gate at the 1 leg end and another photo gate at the 2 leg end. And I think the lab either tells you the 50 centimeter mark for the 1 leg end and the 150 centimeter mark for the 2 leg end, or it's the flip of that. These air tracks have scales on both sides, and so, Miles, does that say 150 there? Uh-huh. And then over here, that says 50, right? But on my side, it says 150. So just be aware that your air track may be reversed to the way this is. You may have 150 and 50 where I have 50 and 150. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so what we're going to do is with the air track on the 2 leg end, since it's really important that you have these photo gates right at the 150 and right at the 50. I mean, as much as possible, you want them right over that. You don't want them a little bit offset. And that's not a problem with the one foot end, but with the 2 leg end, there's this ledge. So what you really need to do is, I'll put it on this side so you can see it better. You need to crank this down and actually rest the photo gate. Well, I cranked it a little bit too much there. You need to rest the photo gate on the 2 legs, on the leg platform, so that you've got it right over the 150. Did that make sense? Okay, I'm going to put it back over this way. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm probably going to knock it off now. I said we're going to make an inclined plane. So you're going to prop that 1-legged end up with a little piece of wood like this. I call them shims because this is a process called shimming it up. And the first one that you do is going to have 1 shim, and then the next 2 that you do, the next 2 trials, you're going to have 4 shims under the 1 leg end. Once again, you want to be sure you've leveled this first. Make sure I'm not lying. Okay. So the thickness of one of these blocks is, I think, about, by the way, I left my notebook at home, so I have none of your labs with me. It's 0.9 centimeters for 1. You can measure yours with the ruler and make sure I'm not lying. So 4 of them ought to be 0.36, right? I'll let you measure them. You're gonna need the height of 1 and then the height of 4. And what you're gonna do is, oh, you know what? I think for the first 2 experiments, you don't even need, you only need 1 photo gate, so, my bad, I was jumping the gun. For the 3rd trial, you need 2. Okay, so, for the first trial, this 1 photo gate needs to be plugged into gate 1. So make sure you're using gate 1, okay? And you're gonna use 1 gate, let's see, Launch Logger Pro and open 1 gate timing, okay? All right, so what you're gonna do is start the glider with the leading edge at the 50 or the 150, depending on which way you're looking at it, at the 1 leg end, and you're gonna let it, you're gonna click collect, let this go, and what's gonna happen to the speed? Yeah. It's gonna speed up, and we're gonna measure its speed down here at the bottom with this photo gate as the flag interrupts the beam. And essentially, that's what we're doing for the 2nd experiment, but for the 2nd one, we're gonna have 4 pieces of wood there. Is that the, yeah, that's the 2nd one. Okay, now, I need to remind you about energy and the different types, because we haven't done this in lecture yet. Actually, we're talking about the beginning part of it, energy, tomorrow. So, do you guys remember studying energy in middle school or high school, maybe? And what kinds of energy are there? Kinetic and potential. So, you want to remember that. Kinetic, I don't know what that word means to you, but it's energy of motion. And it has a very specific definition in physics. Once again, this is new. We have not had this yet. Kinetic energy is, do you remember from another course? It's 1/2 the mass times the speed squared. And you're going to be calculating that in all 3 different experiments that you do today. So hang on a sec. That's energy of motion. Then potential. Well, I know you're familiar with that word potential because you've had people say to you, you know, he has a lot of potential or something like that. Potential is stored energy. And for us, it's mostly going to be stored by virtue of its position. And potential energy is m, the mass in kilograms, times g, the acceleration due to gravity, or the gravitational field strength, times the height above some arbitrary 0. For a given problem, you decide what you're going to call the 0 of potential energy. So those are the 2 things that we're going to look at. And it turns out that for the system of this inclined plane, the sum of the kinetic energy